Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Investors 4.35 trillion gain in 1 month boosts economy. Ndume Bamidele bidding for Senate leader post. Presidency rejects EU's 2023 poll report. Gunmen kill pastor, abduct 7 during vigil in Ogun Church. 2 dead in U.S. mass shooting. Chinese naval ships in Nigeria. Rioters raid home of French mayor. Banks collected 8.9 trillion deposit in 12 months. Death toll of Nigerian pilgrims rises to 13.
Wow.
And Zenith Bank on top with $2.54 billion Tier 1 capital. Actor Olu Jacob is not there 180% of the time, says wife, Joke Silva. All right, what story are we starting with in the nation?
So they said that 6 more Nigerians reported died during the 5 days of Hajj. The Hajj rites in Mina and Arafat, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, had reported. It said this also increased the total number of pilgrims that died in this year's Hajj to 13. So NACON's head of the medical mission, Dr. Usman Galadima, was the one who announced this at a stakeholder meeting in Makkah. And he said 2 Nigerian women were delivered of babies during the 5-day Hajj rites. According to him as well, he said they had 93 emergency cases, which were attended to, including 3 cases of chicken pox. But then they had issues when they went for this year's Hajj. He said there were a lot of, the tents were not enough for all the people who came on that pilgrimage. And the Saudi Arabian agency in charge of the Nigerian pilgrims were saying that the shortage of tents was because they had illegal pilgrims who came in the tent. And NACON's head is saying that this is not an excuse. They don't have the capacity to chase illegal people who come there. That they realize that the tent used for 43,000 people last year was still used for 75,000 people this year. So they did not make proper arrangements. They didn't have good food to eat. There was no Nigerian touch in the food that was served. The food would come late. The place was looking like a dump site. A lot of people didn't have spaces. They were in the sun for days, and it didn't make any sense. And so they're expecting, you know, the Arabians to do something about this, because most of the people who came for Hajj, who were supposed to have good experience, ended up with very bad experience.
Really
the only consolation I sort of have is because I know Muslims feel that when you die in such a place, it's like a holy death or something, you know. So, but really, nobody went there with the intention of going there to die,
to suffer,
you know, or suffer.
All right, so this presidential advisor on special duties and communications strategy, Mr. Dele Aleke, was saying yesterday he rejected, according to the federal government, he rejected the European Union's election observation mission report. According to him, he pointed out that the report attempted to ridicule the country's electoral system and its umpire and INEC. The report criticized INEC for logistics problems associated with the election, its failure to transmit presidential election results in real time, and as well as pockets of violence in some parts of the country before and during the election. Dele Aleke pointed out that they lacked the ability to have enough reps across the country, because according to him, they only had about 40 reps in 36 states, and they're only able to review less than 1,000 polling units when we have about 176,000 polling units. Also, Femi Falana, SAN, the Lagos lawyer, also spoke against the report, saying, I have found reports in the local media much more credible than that of the EU. According to him, we should not waste our time debating what the EU observers found. However, LP completely agrees with the report, saying that it's exactly, specifically the Labour Party was saying that they gave their support 100% to the EU Observer reports, saying that that's exactly what they're trying to do and prove at the courts also. But generally, the presidency had in its entirety rejected the report of the European Union mission report.
So the major headline is financial and very interesting. They said, Tinubu. So the Tinubu rallies Nigeria to top world's top 3. The economic gains of the past 1 month are surpassed, is at a 15-year high. It's 1 month of amazing investors inflow. The total funding that has come into Nigeria right now is 4.35 trillion naira in just 1 month. And it's attributed to the fact that the policies of President Bola Tinubu's administration has increased the Nigerians' perception and the trading, the global stock market indices over the weekend showed Nigeria has jumped several steps over the past 5 weeks to become #1 of the world's top 3 performing markets in a 15-year-old high. So this is good news for Nigerian investors and Nigeria as a country, because it means that we're getting more inflow of funds, and the more inflow of funds we have, the less dependent we would be on the crisis we're having with our FX challenges, and hopefully more cash flow for all the governments.
Moving on now to the Punch. Governors battle cash crunch. Picture here of gridlock in Lagos about an expressway on Sunday. Can mourns as kidnappers kill RCCG pastor, 7 churchgoers rescued. UTME top performer manipulated score faces prosecution, says JAM. Zenith Bank leads Nigerian lenders in new global ranking. NLC to meet Tinubu on the 65-year retirement age. Opposition attacks FG as presidency lambast EU poll observers. And NNPCL marketers feel vessel arrive next week, says Ipman. Okay, which story are we starting with in Punch?
We have a human interest story. So the Christian Association of Nigeria in Ogun State on Sunday expressed sadness over the killing of a pastor, Kayode Oluwakemi, by kidnappers who also abducted 7 worshippers, although they have been rescued as well. So according to the story, they said the churchgoers were conducting a vigil at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Desires of Nations Parish, when the kidnappers invaded the premise at the church at Abule-Ori in Obafemi Owode local government area of Ogun State. They killed the pastor and kidnapped 7 worshippers. So Khan is reacting to this, saying that the government needs to step up efforts to stop insecurity, especially around worship centers. Says it's a very sad incident, and it brings to mind different kinds of questions. Does it not mean that is a sin for worshippers to gather to worship God, a place that's supposed to be like their sanctuary, and then things like this happen in those places. So they need the government, who is supposed to be protecting the lives and property of its citizens, to, ramp up support and make sure that this does not continue anymore. I think there was also another one that happened in another state as well. I don't have all the details here.
All right, so the Nigerian Labour Congress is set to engage the President, Bola Tinubu, on the agitation of the extension of retirement age of civil servants. According to this report, core civil servants have been left out, especially after the review by our former president was done for teachers. According to him, they're going to engage the President on retirement for 65. According to the report also, the national president of NLC, Joe Ajero, had tried to engage the former president through the Minister for State for Labor, that's Mr. Festus Keyamo, who said that the process is going to take too long for the former administration, and that this request is coming at the twilight of the administration and could not deal with the matter. They're hoping that this new administration that comes in, they should be able to engage them. So hopefully the conversation will start, and they'll try to get a new retirement age for core civil servants who were left out in the review that was done for teachers back with the former president.
So let me take the major headline with the report on the governors having cash crunch, saying that many governors' internally generated revenue has really dropped. Of all the governors, the 36 states that we have, only 25 states had the report that detailed the amount. They said there was no data for Kwara, Edo, Kaduna, Lagos, Bauchi, Yobe, and Ogun for Q4 2022. However, from the states that had their reports, the highest internally generated revenue was from Delta, that had 40 billion in Q1 2023, followed by Anambra with 13 billion and Oyo with 13 billion. Undo also did well with 10 billion. The lowest state was Enugu. Enugu State had the lowest IGR in Q1 of 2023, having just 2.32 billion naira. Yet, most of these states have a high debt rate that has increased by 130 billion in the past 3 months, according to the data from the Debt Management Office. The point is, all our state governors have a lot of work cut out for them, and they have a huge assignment of increasing the internally generated revenue in the states. And I'm sure many states, it's my own advice, so they're looking towards taxation, but that taxation would put a lot of hardship on businesses that are already struggling, and the goal should be in facilitating more cash to circulate around and not just shrinking.
Just tax.
There's a lot of work.
Taxation is part of how to get revenue.
May they calm down. They want us to stop doing this business.
Can't go going to
we will not be able to employ
what do Nigerians want?
So I believe that, one, we want taxes have to be paid.
Of course. Around the world, taxes are paid. The
Because
major
I started doing payee for my staff, and in doing that, I couldn't even remove them from the staff because the money is not enough for them.
You have to go in the
okay.
It's not a hot topic. Let us break up. But whether we like it or not, we must get used to start paying taxes.
We pay tax.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers, and we're moving on now to Daily Sun. Presidential election, Tinubu, APC, INEC fight back at tribunal today. IPAC laments growing insecurity in Anambra, berates Toludo. Senate awaits Tinubu's ministerial list. SERAP writes Tinubu 6 spending details of 400 billion naira fuel subsidy savings. Zenith Bank retains position as #1 bank in Nigeria. Presidency rejects EU report on 2023 poll. Austerity. Experts task Tinubu to urgently arrest dwindling economy. PDP National Working Committee meets senators over minority leadership. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Anambra State chapter of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, yesterday lamented the growing level of insecurity in Anambra State. They said they rated the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, poorly. And in a statement by the chairman, Chief Uche Ukwoji, Secretary Uzochukwu Eminent, and Publicity Secretary Chief Matthias Ameke, they said that kidnappers and gunmen and other criminal elements are virtually taking over the state. That after 1 year and counting, the story is not any different. Onitsha, which is the commercial hub of Anambra State, is like a shadow of itself. It said from 6 o'clock in the evening, people have already locked themselves in for fear of being kidnapped or robbed. There are a lot of insecurity lapses in the state. And, you know, they said that the government, that in order to, you know, ramp up taxes, had, you know, employed hoodlums, who they accused to be hoodlums or thugs. And they've been harassing people and extorting them in the name of collecting revenue for rates. And even the people in the areas, for them to do their marriages and their burials, have to, you know, take permission and pay these hoodlums to be able to have access to their own environment. And this is not anything to be happy about. They said for children to go out to, you know, pour their refuse away, they have to pay. You pay tax for anything you're doing because there are hoodlums all around collecting the money. And also, he had promised, the governor had promised to set up do an election for the local government, which after 1 year he hasn't done so far. He just has this unconstitutional transition committee that have been, you know, doing the work of the local government, and they're saying this is against the constitution. The money that the local government is supposed to receive to do work for the grassroots is still being collected by the state government, and this has to stop.
All right, so the Senate, ahead of the ministerial nominations, will be resuming work, and everybody's waiting to hear the names on the ministerial list. If you know, as many of you know, the 1999 Constitution insists that the presidency, from 60 days from the date of inauguration, must provide the names of the ministers, and equal to also the governors must also provide the names of their commissioners. And we're yet to have the names, but people are expecting, the Senate especially is expecting, that this week we begin to get the names. However, the DSS has confirmed, said that they are still vetting the names of these names being provided, because they don't want what happened during President Muhammad Buhari's time, where we had issues that had either with their certificate issues or forgery issues, and they had to go back and forth. So we want to do proper, thorough vetting to be sure that these people are actually fit for the work that they are being recommended to do. Also, so, I mean, the need, according to the report, the list and names is still shrouded in secrecy. There are insinuations of the ministers who will be drawn from the public and private sectors, as well as politicians who played key roles in electing the president, getting the president elected. But many people have been traveling, while the president was in Lagos. We heard that lots of people were flooding his house to bid. There's a lot of lobbying going on. Who made the
but
list?
the names have already been sent to them.
But it's constantly being reviewed and everything. So
you can still
find your way.
So hopefully
visibility can still work in your
this week, by God's grace, we are hoping that we get some names at least
Finally.
this week.
Well, because during the campaign, our president, while he was aspiring for office, made us understand that he had a list of people that are competent, that was already, like, who were already on ground. So we knew that. I
remember Mr. Delarake saying that any responsible government within a month should be able to get the list. So we're still waiting for, hopefully, in this week, we should get in the names of
So I want to take the story of SERAP, the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project. I've written a letter on the 1st of July to our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, asking him to publish the spending of the 400 billion naira saved from removal of petrol subsidy. According to them, Nigerians are facing a lot of hardship because of the removal of the petrol subsidy, and they would expect that in furthering transparency within the government, they should publish how the money that is saved is being spent, I would say reallocated, because sometimes the money that we think is being saved, we never really had the money to spend in the first place. So let's now say that if we did not spend the money, what are we now reallocating it to? They are urging that unless the government is transparent and accountable to Nigerians about how we spent the savings from the removal of subsidy, the removal will continue to, people will continue to undermine, it will seem like the government is undermining Nigerians and increasing their vulnerability to poverty and social deprivation.
The NNPC also said that the government was owing them money, so it's not as if that the money is being paid immediately. It's part of the money, so just like you said,
you should just explain the redirection. They mentioned that the National Social Safety Net program and the spending of that particular program has been shrouded in secrecy. They will also like the president to publish this information generally. They just want to know more.
Vanguard revealed Tinubu's move against terrorism. Presidency rejects EU's report on 2023 general elections. Zenith Bank retains position as foremost Tier 1 bank in Nigeria. Fuel subsidy made e-vehicles unattractive in Nigeria. 9 illegal refineries with 1 million barrels per day production capacity uncovered in Bayelsa. For real?
Yep.
Fuel subsidy removal, forex reforms. Investors rake in 5.3 trillion in H1 2023. Let's see. Ministerial nominees, Oshumbo, Ambassador Musa Mohammed mimic list. 10th Senate opposition to Tambuwal minority leadership bids 12. Anxiety as FG resumes work on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and JAM raises alarm over candidates parading fake scores. Okay, which story are we starting with?
The illegal refineries that were uncovered said about 9 illegal refineries sites combined. Total daily production estimated to be more than 1 million barrels have been uncovered in 3 communities in Bayelsa State. So they were uncovered by the operatives of Devon Oil and Security Enterprises, one of the federal government pipeline security contractors in Niger Delta, in collaboration with the Joint Task Force, JTF, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and the media. So it was carried out, the operation was carried out by Operation No More Smoke. That's what it's called, embarked on by the Devon Security Enterprises. And their plan is to eradicate illegal oil bunkering in this region. So the communities they saw were uncovered in Okodia, Zarama, Biseni in Yenagoa local government, and boundary communities of Ibelebiri and Owode-Egba in Ogbia local government of the state. They said the illegal refinery was located 8 kilometers inside the swamp forest of Zarama clan. And, you know, they had to cover hours to be able to get there. And they also found one, said this one had about 15 oven tanks with a capacity of 450,000 liters daily production in Okodia, Zarama Biseni local government council. And they discovered that they were tapping and sourcing directly from Shell Petroleum Development. That's where they put their pipeline. So this is war to all those people having illegal refining and bunkering, and they're saying that government is out to get all of them. So I want to see or hear more prosecution. We need to know the people behind this, because they may just go there and get the workers, the people on the surface. We need to dig deep. Let's see the sponsors of this, because to do all business, you need to have serious money. They are big men.
And backing.
And backing.
And the impact, the environmental impact of this thing is huge.
Yeah.
The people there are suffering because of the pollution.
No clean
There's
water.
Leakage when they tap into the Shell stuff.
Okay, so let's move back to Lagos. Motorists are already very worried because the work starts again today on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Express fears as the contractor by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing resumes rehab work today. Many have already complained about the fact that even, I think it was since yesterday. That was
between Kara and Bega, 3 hours.
As of noon on Sunday, it took motorists more than 3 hours to travel from Ibafo to Ogun State to Otedola Bridge in Lagos due to slow traffic, which ordinarily takes about 15 to 20 minutes. So there have been frustrations, and we're hoping that Julius Berger can hurry up and finish that work there. And we can get from the Ministry of Works a date. Because although they've been moving this since last year, December, anyway, but give us one more date. Let us know, is it the end of July? Just let us know. We can work towards it. It's really, really terrible. And just hope that people can be safe. Okay?
So from Lagos, let's go to France.
What's happening in France?
Yeah, there's been major riots going on in France. There was a killing of a boy, a 17-year-old boy of Algerian and Moroccan parents. And the killing led to it was protest, and now it has turned to riots. This is unusual. They even burnt the cars of, rioters attacked the house of the mayor of South Suburb of Les Roses. And while they attacked the house, the wife and 2 children were inside the house. I'm talking 5-year-old, 7-year-old children. And they ran through the back of the house, and they were still being chased with fireworks were thrown at them. I think they said the mayor's wife might have injured herself, maybe a leg broken. She might need to go through being recovered. The 5-year-old, 7-year-old too were traumatized. Then, because they couldn't access the house, they burnt the mayor's car in front of the mayor's house. Of course, the French Prime Minister has condemned the attack on the mayor's home, vowed to bring perpetrators to justice, but it's really worrisome to see a first world country being descended to this level of anarchy, riots, fighting, looting taking place.
It happens everywhere.
Exactly. So I'm highlighting it so that Nigerians that feel like this kind of thing cannot happen in other places of the world.
That is all you can take on front page review. I mean, since January, the insurrection that happened in the US.
US, you know that you have everybody.
We're all the same. We're all animals.
Give you the right circumstances.
System, put system in place to put us in check. So nobody's better than anybody else. All right, that's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.